Welcome back to the Cam Recap Show, where we cover AMD, KLIC, and MDC. We're going to start with the news portion and then transition into the technical analysis towards the end of the show. So let's just jump into it with AMD to start. We can see that at the beginning of the week they were at about 135, and as of now they're at 118. They've actually in the after hours dropped to 117. Something else worth noting is their earnings should be coming out pretty soon. I think it's going to be earlier, maybe next week, but it looks like February 1st is going to be their Q4 earnings. Some of the news that's been happening with them is AMD's released new laptop chips. So AMD has overtaken Intel's former lead in making the fastest chips for most Windows-based laptops, helping to push its market share to 22% in the third quarter of last year. And it's also announced a deal with Lenovo Group Limited to supply chips for a new laptop model called the ThinkPad Z. It's a pricey machine aimed at corporate users, a market where Intel's market share has been slower to erode. So this AMD deal, it's going to be with Asus Tech, Dell, and HP. And so it's going to introduce their chips, AMD's chips, into their laptops and their devices. So that's actually good news for the company. So we're trying to figure out why they're in a slump. It's likely just due to the economy at large. Some other news. So they recently had this CES show, and so they were advertising their new products for the coming year. So new products that deliver leadership, productivity, content creation, and gaming experience. So there was 20 new AMD Ryzen 6000 series processors, 3 new AMD Radeon RX 6000S series GPUs, 5 new AMD Radeon RX 6000M series GPUs, a new Radeon RX 65 XT and Radeon RX 6400 desktop graphics cards for incredible 1080p gaming. There was updated AMD smart technology device designed to boost performance and extend battery life on AMD Advantage laptops. So that's something we can all understand, extended battery life. The forthcoming AMD software Adrenaline Edition application features the new AMD Radeon Super Resolution driver-based spatial upscaling technology. So basically just a better version of what they came out with in last year's model. They've also introduced the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D desktop processor, the industry's first consumer PC processor to feature 3D stacked chiplets to deliver a significant increase in gaming performance. Preview of AMD's upcoming Ryzen 7000 series desktop processor planned to launch in second half of 2022. So we're going to expect to see a boost in sales with this new desktop processor in the second half of the year. So should see just a boost there. AMD's also announced the AMD Ryzen 6000 series processors. This is the world's leading notebook OEMs, which is once again including Asus, HP, and Lenovo, and they'll bring forth those systems powered by AMD processors very soon, next month. And so this is going to be within 200 systems, expected to launch by the end of the year. So it's going to start probably next month, as they say, and it's going to build up to 200 by the end of the year. That looks like it for this one. So to expand upon that, just in more general terms though, so once again, the expanded AMD Radeon RX 6000M series mobile graphics offers a 20% faster performance on average than their current lineup, so a 20% performance increase here. They've also introduced several new and enhanced AMD smart technologies, as well as upcoming version of AMD software. Once again, that Adrenaline, it's going to be available, they're expecting it to be available this first quarter in 2022. That AMD Radeon RX 6500 XT graphics card is delivering up to 35% faster gaming on average for those 1080p resolution with high setting compared to any competitive offers, so that's outside the company. And a few more points. So several enhancements and additions to the AMD Smart Technologies portfolio are designed to boost performance and extend battery life on AMD Advantage laptops. And one of those features is this AMD Smart Shift Eco technology. So it's expected to be available later this year, and it is projected to offer up to 2 times gaming time when on battery on a system. So higher battery life, which we all can appreciate that. Next up, so once again, we just want to touch on the deal with this Linux. We're waiting for China to approve that. And so an article that came up was the company has said its total addressable market, or its TAM, comprises of 3 core businesses, and that's their data centers, their PCs, and gaming. And so they've expanded upon that and said the value of those markets is roughly 35 billion, 32 billion, and 12 billion. So you combine that all together and you have 79 billion. So now they're projecting that once Linux gets incorporated with AMD, they're expecting the TAM to go from that 79 billion all the way up to 110 billion dollars immediately following the deal. So AMD, that is why we're focusing on AMD. We believe that it can grow very quickly, assuming this deal goes through. They're still going to grow without the deal, but if this deal goes through, they should see a really big pop. And this kind of confirms it. Earnings per shares, they're estimating that after this deal goes through, it's going to jump up to $4. And currently, the 2022 projection is at about $2.63. So that's a very big pop for this company. And then something of note, I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but back in November, AMD announced that it had won a contract with Facebook or Meta Platforms. Specifically, Facebook or Meta Platforms chose AMD's EPYC central processing units for its data center. So this is a key component of AMD's business, and it's projected to grow throughout this year and the years following. Something else that I just thought was interesting is someone brought to the attention that they might be using too much debt, and so they went into details here and kind of debunked this. But apparently AMD back in September had about $313 million of debt, which was down from $373 million from the year prior, but the company has $3.61 billion in cash. So they have more cash than debt, like a lot more. And then it goes into further detail by saying, okay, well, let's actually look at their liabilities. What do they owe these companies? Okay, now we're actually getting into a little more detail, a little more balance here. So liabilities due within the next 12 months, they actually have $3.56 billion worth of liabilities, and another $453 million due beyond that. But once again, cash, they have $3.61 billion, so right there, that evens out. And then going beyond that, they also have revenue or accounts receivable that's coming in within the next 12 months of another $2.23 billion. So you add that together, and their current ratio is through the roof, very good. It's above 1, and so they actually have $1.82 billion in liquid assets. So they're very good, very strong financially. So there's actually no concern there. And then someone mentioned that their top picks, it looks like it's just some Wall Street investors. They actually chose AMD and Marvel. Marvel's another, they're all semiconductors, but I'm actually interested in Marvel. May put out a video for them too. And this Toshiya Hari actually put a price target of 170 on AMD. So we're going to follow that. We're going to see how close he gets to that. We'll have to mark that down, see what happens, especially with the market dipping the way it is. We'll see how close we can get. Moving on to KLIC now. KLIC started the week at about 58, and just like everything else in the market, it seems, they're trending down to 52 and actually in 51 in after hours. So KLIC had some news. Uh, Once again, if you're not familiar with KLIC, they're a leading provider of semiconductor packaging and electronic assembly solutions. So that was just a general thing about them. Also, consensus estimates that it's calling for revenue of $460 million for this year, which is actually up 71% from the prior year's quarter. And analysts are actually expecting earnings to be $5.75 per share for the year and revenue to be at $1.54 billion, which what's interesting to me was this would actually mark changes of minus 6.35% for their earnings per share and up 1.5% in their revenue. So I'll have to do a little digging into that, why their revenue, even though it's pretty much flat, it's gone up a little bit, but their earnings went down over 5%. Not sure what the correlation is between the two, so we'll have to dig into that a little bit. The biggest news, though, for KLIC recently is they've actually announced a new kind of software. So at this SEMICON Taiwan, they are launching this product called Next. It's this new web-based Industry 4.0 software solution that connects KLIC's equipment and enables fleet management, factory automation, and productivity improvement. So to elaborate on that, over the past 3 decades, KLIC has been focused on developing and enhancing equipment connectivity and factory automation solutions to drive efficiency and productivity for semiconductor assembly equipment. So that's their industry. So Next, that's what their new product is, provides several new value-enhancing features, such as this web-based platform with instant access anywhere within a customer's network, factory dashboards with equipment fleet view, and a customized and cost-effective software modules to cater to different customer requirements. So this is a very big development for them. I'm not sure if that's been priced into their current market price. We'll have to see how the market trends. And based on the way it's going down, I have to imagine it hasn't been factored in yet. Or if it has, just the market is crashing so much that it should rebound. At least that's what I'm hoping. Moving on to M.D.C. So they started the week at roughly 55, and they turned down to about 48. So once again, they're getting swept in with the market, the broad market in general. There was some news with M.D.C. recently. So they have a couple housing expansions. So this is more just general with all their homes. They're announcing solar options for now multiple regions within their Richmond American builds. So to elaborate on that, they're taking its commitment to sustainability to the next level by providing these solar options at communities from coast to coast. I believe originally it was just in like California, maybe Nevada homes, and now they're expanding it to homes in multiple areas, even on the East Coast. So they're introducing an even greater host of standard and optional features that help reduce energy usage without sacrificing functionality. These include HVAC solutions, high efficiency MRV13 air filters, high efficiency tankless water heaters, and low energy windows and radiant roof barriers. They're also offering electric vehicle charging pre-wiring in all markets. So they're really taking that electric vehicle thing to the next level also. So they're planning ahead. This is big news. And then now we're going to get into a couple of their developments, their housing developments. So one of the markets that they've actually gone into is they're pleased to announce a grand opening of 3 inspired model homes at Seasons, which is in Stonebrooks in Elk Grove. And if you're not familiar, that apparently is very close to Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, and San Francisco. So it's right in that trifecta area. That's why they chose this land to develop. And next we also have, so they entered into the Nashville market. So this is announced that it will soon break ground in the Rich at Carter station. which is a community in Maury County. Once again, that must be near Nashville. And they're set to open for sales in spring of 2022. So that's just right around the corner. Once again, in Nashville, and it's set to boast 124 home sites. And depending on how much those are worth, I mean, I expect millions of dollars. So now let's transition into the technical analysis. So where we left off last time, we had drawn this line of support in here about 130. We've dipped to about our second support line about 120. I can draw in another support line. This is what I kind of was afraid of, but we can draw one in probably around here. It looks like we had some consolidation around, I want to say like 100, right around 100. We can expand this out some just so we get it out far enough to where we are today. So we're right at this touching point, and I think I can make this a little thicker for us. So we're currently at about we're at 118. I'm just going to round up to 120. We're right at that mark. Based on current trends, I could easily expect this one to pull back even further. I was hoping that once it hit that 130, it would jump back up. It is not doing that, so we're actually going to take out this line and maybe draw in a trend line showing more down. Let's see if I can pop that in there. Let's see. I don't know if that's really worth it at this point, but you can see we're at this one resistance line at about 120. I honestly, at this point, I don't see it bouncing back. It easily could trend all the way back down to 100 even. That would be our next point to buy. I think we'll hit harder resistance at that mark, especially just due to I guess human psychology. You know, at $100, that's kind of like a stable mark. If we drop below then, you know, we'll talk about it if we get to that point. I can't imagine it going lower than that, but we'll see how this week turns out. So if you're feeling more bullish, maybe this is another time to buy. Maybe it'll bounce back at the 120, but currently it looks like they're trending down. We could easily retest that 100 mark. Moving on to KLIC. Once again, we were in this little conversion area, and it looks like we broke that support line, and we also broke the support line at about 54, which I was hoping would stay still. So let's draw a new support line. Maybe our next possible line could be. Let's zoom out a little bit. Would be a good spot. It kind of seems like maybe up here, but we can drop it lower. Right around here might be a good level. So let's draw this in. Trend line right about in here seems fair, and I'm just basing that off of this bottom, and it also seems like it's touching. If I can draw this out a little bit more, it seems like it's touching near these peaks, and that's pretty much all I'm basing it off of. It's right on this mark, and it's slightly below these peaks over here. So that just gives us a little bit greater of a buffer. I'm just going to take out this line because we clearly broke that trend, and the way the market's going, it seems like it's just going to keep dropping lower. So our next support line is roughly at $50. I easily could see it dropping below that. This downtrend line, we could maybe even decrease that. And here I'm just touching the tops, really. So we're clearly in a downtrend. No kind of timetable for when that might break. I would say another support line might be around this area. Did I grab that trend line? Let's see. This might be the next. This might be a better support line if we can hit this one. This would be a solid buying opportunity in my opinion too, right around $43. Our first stop would be this $49, but seeing as that's only $3 away, it seems like we're very likely to hit that one. So that might be a buying opportunity to see if things turn around. This is a dividend stock, so we'll kind of see how the market plays out, but this might be a more firm support line right around $44. Moving on to MDC, you can see we broke trend here again. We were kind of in this uptrend here, which we broke below that. We haven't hit our support line at 47.60, but we're getting awfully close to it. Our next one would be 45.58. So if you're bullish on this one could bounce right around that 47.60 mark. We'll kind of have to see. But for now, I mean, we could still argue it's somewhat in an uptrend, depending on how you draw this line in. Based on the fact that back in October we are still upwards from that, and you can see we hit a peak here, and maybe we're just retesting a new low. We're still above our previous low, so you can make the case that we are still in an uptrend. It's just getting very close. We're nearing a support line, so I would kind of hold my money here. I'd consider buying in closer to that 47-45 range. We'll just see how the market pans out. There's a lot of things going on economically, so we'll just have to kind of see how this works. We can actually move this one down just to kind of, I don't know, make it look a little neater. But yeah, so that kind of sums up the cam recap show for the week. I'm hoping to maybe post a couple other videos relating to other semiconductors, maybe just to the industry as a whole. Otherwise, I do have a link below for a Webull account. You can click on that link. You'll get a couple free stocks if you open an account and you're new to that software, so consider that. Otherwise, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.